Hello and welcome back to a brand new Toque de Football video. Real Madrid Club de Football has defeated Kairat Almaty 5-0 in their second game of the UEFA Champions League. In a game where Real Madrid had to travel 8,000 kilometers just to get to their game, in a game where Real Madrid were obligated to win, not only because of the immense pressure on Xabi Alonso and the team after the Madrid derby thrashing, but also because Real Madrid were the clear favorites on paper. And with all due respect to Kairat, any victory from Real Madrid under a margin of 3 goals, I think would have been concerning for the fans and for the team themselves. I do want to give Kairat a round of applause for the first half and the first 15 minutes that they put out there. In the first 15 minutes of the game, I saw a Kairat that was courageous. I saw a Kairat that was excited to play Real Madrid. I saw a Kairat that didn't fear Real Madrid. And I saw a Kairat that threw everything at Real Madrid. They gave them everything they had with high intensity, with high pressure. They tried to make Real Madrid uncomfortable. And honestly, in the first 15 minutes, they did just that. They did throw everything they had at Real Madrid, and Real Madrid were unsettled and Real Madrid were uncomfortable. Ultimately, again, with all due respect, Kairat just lacked the quality up front to really put Real Madrid in danger. We got to tip our hat off for what they did in the first 15 minutes and what they did in the first half. They only allowed Real Madrid to score 1 goal in the first half, and I think that deserves a round of applause for Kairat. Now, I want to talk about Real Madrid. Real Madrid came in with a lot of alternatives in this game. I think not only because of the thrashing that happened this past weekend, but because of necessity. Real Madrid has played a lot of games last season, and they're going to play a lot of games this season. We saw a Asensio who played right back in a position where usually Dani Carvajal or Trent would play. Although we know that both of them are injured, Asensio did start at the right back role. Housen was in his normal center back role alongside Alaba, who I believe got his first start for Real Madrid since like February of last season. And then Fran Garcia getting the start at the left back role, substituting a Carreras who had a very tough game in the Madrid derby. In the middle, Ceballos returned at the double five role, substituting Valverde, who has not had a great start to the season, alongside Tchouameni. And then up front, I think Xabi Alonso returned with his stellar four offensive players for Real Madrid. Mastantuono on one side, Vinicius on the other side, Guler at the 10, and of course, Kiki Mbappe at the striker role. I don't really want to talk too much about the defense because, with all due respect to Kairat, they just lack the quality to really put any pressure on Madrid's defense. And I think Madrid's defense was fine. I think they did good. I think Housen had a good game. I think Alaba, Fran Garcia, and Asensio were all good as well. But it's true that they really weren't put to the test today. Nonetheless, I think keeping the goal at 0 is very important for a Real Madrid team who just let up 5 goals to their crosstown rivals. I do want to talk a little bit about Ceballos because Ceballos brings something different than Valverde. I think when Ceballos is in the game, he allows Guler to move more freely in that 10 role. Guler doesn't really have to worry about having to track back or watch Ceballos back in case Ceballos is out of position. I think Ceballos is more of your traditional number 5 compared to Valverde. As we know, Valverde is a very versatile player. He can play pretty much anywhere for Madrid, and he's pretty much played everywhere for Real Madrid. Valverde is a type of player that likes to incorporate himself more on the attack, and I think when Valverde is starting, Guler does have to be mindful of having to cover Valverde in case he's caught out of position in a counter attack, let's say. But with Ceballos, I think Guler has a lot more freedom, and I think Madrid plays a lot more fluid with Ceballos in the middle. Now we get to the offensive third for Real Madrid. There's a lot of interesting things here. First of all, I want to talk about Vinicius. A Vinicius who was captain today, a Vinicius that has not regained that best version of himself that he's been with Real Madrid in that second place Ballon d'Or season. I think Real Madrid are trying to discipline Vinicius on and off the field. It's interesting to give Vinicius the captain role because Vinicius hasn't really been showing much leadership role on Real Madrid. A player that used to always spat with the ref, a player that would always complain about calls. I think under Xabi Alonso, Vinicius has been a lot more disciplined. You don't really see him argue calls anymore, and you see a Vinicius who plays more for the team than for himself. And I think that's good for Real Madrid. But I think it would be better for Real Madrid if he was able to regain that top form that we're so used to seeing him, especially during that Ballon d'Or season. And I think today Vinicius struggled a bit. He didn't have a great game. He didn't have a bad game. I think his game was just normal. He struggled in his one-on-ones and he struggled in association with his offensive teammates. Nonetheless, I think Vinicius did just all right today for Real Madrid. Mastantuono on the other side. To me, Mastantuono is such a workhorse. To me, Mastantuono is the type of player that every coach wants on his team because he does everything that the coach wants tactically. He defends, he incorporates himself in the attack, he's constantly asking for the ball, he's not afraid to attack the defender, he's not afraid to take his one-on-ones, and he tends to win most of those opportunities. And he's a player that is constantly always trying to create chances for the team and for himself. And of course, we saw that he was the one that drew the penalty in the 23rd, 22nd minute. But I think that was mainly created because of the energy that Mastantuono brings for Real Madrid. He never gives up on any ball, and he draws the penalty for Real Madrid. To which, of course, the best player for Real Madrid, the best player in the world currently, Kiki Mbappe, steps up and slots his first goal in this game and the first goal for Real Madrid as well. Now, I do want to talk about Güler and Mbappe. We'll talk about them together because I think they go hand in hand. This duel has been the best duel for Real Madrid this whole season. They are the two best players for Real Madrid. They are two best offensive players for Real Madrid. And Güler has surprised me a lot. I did not think Güler could reach this level when he started for Xabi Alonso. I think Ancelotti was wrong by not giving him the opportunities last season, and I think he's proven it now. A Güler who plays between the lines, a Güler that can play a great long ball, a Güler that can play a great short ball, a Güler that can triangulate and associate himself very well with his offensive players, a Güler that can create so many chances for his strikers or for his wingers, and a Güler that can create chances for himself and score as well. What more do you ask from a number 10? Güler brings everything there is to bring for a number 10. And I think he's been the second best player for Madrid, and he's easily been the second best player offensively. Without Güler, I honestly ask myself, who would be creating these opportunities for Madrid? Because Bellingham is still injured. Bellingham still has to return to form. And if Güler goes down, I just don't see anyone that can replace him right now for Real Madrid. Now, what can I say about Kiki Mbappe? Really, what can I say about this guy? Best player in the world at the moment. I think this is the Mbappe that all Madrid fans were excited about when they signed PSG. I think this is the Mbappe that all of Real Madrid's rivals were scared of because this Mbappe is the best version of Mbappe I've seen. The best version of Mbappe compared to any version in PSG. This Mbappe is clearly the best player in the world right now. Up to this point, he has 3 goals in the Champions League in 2 games, all of them coming from penalties. And I know people might say, well, he only scores penalties. It's important to score penalties. If you can't slot the penalties, then you can't score the easy goals. Who cares if they're all penalties? He's still scoring them, and that's what a striker should do. That's what the best player should be able to do for his team. Nonetheless, like what more can I say about Mbappe? Mbappe is on another level. Mbappe is on a tear. Dude has 13 goals in 9 games. You can't really ask anything more from Mbappe. I honestly ask myself, how many goals would Madrid score without Mbappe? Truthfully, how many goals would Madrid have scored this game without Mbappe? Would they have even won the game if Mbappe was, let's say, injured or wasn't on the team? Because Mbappe literally scores all the goals for Real Madrid. You give him a one-on-one, he's scoring it. You give him a penalty, he's scoring it. You're crossing the ball, he's headering it, he's scoring it. Honestly, he might even score free kicks if he was the one to take them. Mbappe does everything for this team. Mbappe scores everything for this team. And I honestly ask myself, if Mbappe wasn't on this team, where would Real Madrid be? Who would score for them? Because I don't think Gonzalo Garcia is scoring all those goals for them. Who's scoring for them? Vinicius is not at the level that he used to be. Mastantuono cannot be at the same level as Mbappe in the moment. Güler can honestly only do so much without a stellar number 9. Mbappe right now is just on another level compared to his teammates, compared to anyone else in the footballing world. The dude is on a tear, And once again, he proved it today by scoring a hat-trick for Real Madrid. Now, I also want to give Xabi Alonso some credit because I think the tactical changes he made against Atletico Madrid and the subs he made in that game really damaged Real Madrid, and he was at fault for what happened this past weekend. But in today's game, he made the right subs again. I think today he returned to the tactical work that he's been doing all season, and he brought in Brahim Diaz and Rodrygo in the 70th minute for both wingers, Mastantuono and Vinicius, and they both worked out for him. Brahim Diaz scored in the 93rd minute for Madrid's 5th goal. Rodrygo assisted Camavinga for their 4th goal in the 83rd minute, and then Camavinga came in the 80th minute and he scored 3 minutes later. What more can you ask from the subs? And then Gonzalo Garcia also came in the 81st minute and he assisted as well. Now, I do want to talk about Rodrygo because I think Rodrygo should not be on the bench. Every time Rodrygo comes in the game for Real Madrid, I see a Rodrygo that is constantly asking for the ball. I see a determined Rodrygo to prove himself to the coach, to the team, to his teammates that he belongs on the pitch. Giving Rodrygo 20 minutes every time he comes in, I think is blasphemy to him. It's so disrespectful considering everything he has done for Real Madrid this season and previous seasons. He is way too talented to be on the bench. Right now, in this moment, I know it's going to be hard for Madrid fans to swallow this. I know it might be hard for Xabi Alonso to realize this and to make this change. But right now, Rodrygo is in better form than Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. hasn't been great in a while. He has not been that version of Vinicius that deserves to be starting every game on a club like Real Madrid. Right now, Rodrygo to me is much better. Rodrygo comes in, asks for the ball. Rodrygo comes in, not afraid to go on his one-on-ones, and he wins his one-on-ones more often than not compared to Vinicius. They're very similar players. They do very similar things, but right now, Rodrygo is just better at what Vinicius does. I know it's going to be hard to swallow for Real Madrid to take Vinicius out, and it's going to be hard for Vinicius himself because Vinicius is a great player, but Rodrygo does not deserve to be on the bench. He deserves to get more minutes. He deserves to get more starts. Rodrygo creates so many chances for his team, and he proved it again today, creating a chance and assisting. And he can go on his own and score goals. I think what Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso are doing to Rodrygo is so disrespectful to him. He deserves much better. He deserves to play for Real Madrid. I think this game overall was what we expected. First 15 minutes, Kairat threw everything they had looking for that opening goal for them. They lacked the quality. And then the next 75 minutes of the game, Real Madrid dominated. They dominated possession. They dominated tempo of the game. They dominated the chances in front of goal. They were relentless in front of goal once again, and they put 5 behind Kairat. But I do think it's important to recognize what Kairat did and what they tried to do, because what they tried to do in the first half was very brave against a Real Madrid side. Ultimately, the best team won. Ultimately, the team with better quality, the team with better players won, and Real Madrid get another 3 points in the Champions League to go 2 for 2, 6 for 6, perfect start to the Champions League. I think it's very important that they got this victory after what happened this past weekend. It shows that they can pick themselves up after a disastrous loss, and it shows that they are still clearly one of the UEFA Champions League favorites to win the title in May. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the game. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Mbappe. Again, Mbappe right now is clearly the front runner for the Ballon d'Or, and he is clearly the best player in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from Toque de Fútbol.